Hey everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom. My name's Colwin Way, and today it's all about the mushrooms or toadstools, depending on how you look at them. Ben told me the other day he was out walking, picking mushrooms by candlelight, and that gave me the idea. Why not? Let's have a go at doing some mushrooms. But we've done things like this before, beginner sort of projects. Wanted to do something a bit different, and I've seen these on the internet and when I've been googling for ideas. And the little mushroom designed nutcrackers, basically. So there we are. It's that time of year. The nuts are going to be ready to go, I should imagine. Time for Christmas and all that. See where it is coming out very often now, of course. Now we're well into October. So that's our project for today. I've already mentioned Ben. He's on the cameras and the camera trickery and the questions. So give us a shout if you have any questions. So there's a few things going on here, as well as being able to turn beautiful bits of timber. This has excited me for several reasons. I've got also the thread cutting box. And in this particular case, I'm using a 7/8 thread cutter. So if you know what they are before, it's a big version of a tap and die set, really. So this is the die. This is the actual box. This is for cutting timber. And inside there, you probably can't see. I can't see on the camera myself, but there we are. You can just see there the little cutter. And that's an adjustable cutter. I might need to adjust it. I don't know. So we'll see how hard this timber is. We're using Amarillo to cut the male thread. And then through the piece of olive wood that I've got here, particularly dry piece of olive, I have to say, we've got our taps. And we've got, like we would in metal, we've got a starter tap, and we've got then the finisher here. So we will use both. And again, we'll just see how that goes. I haven't made a huge quantity of these. It's like anything we do, we're sort of trying to come up with a different project every sort of week. So a lot of the time we're doing things we've never done before. So this is my second one. This was my first one. And so fingers crossed, things go well. I've got my notes next to me as well, just in case I forget the sequence that I've done it with, because it seemed to work the last time I've done it. This works really, really well. The thread cuts beautifully, or works beautifully. And it does crack nuts, so fingers crossed. The timbers I've got here, like I've already mentioned, I've got Amarillo thread. I've also got a bit of olive here for the main body, and I've got a piece of, this is actually wenge. The modern equivalent to this is panga, and before that it was partridge wood. It's very similar looking timber. You don't see much partridge wood anymore, but the wenge you do. So yeah, really nice. But you could use anything, to be quite honest. You can use anything, just contrast or not, whichever you want to. I've seen a lot of these in the internet, actually painted to make them look like mushrooms, red top, white spots, that sort of thing. Okay, so yeah, a bit of fun turning this one, but a lot, as usual with all of these projects, quite a lot of technique involved, and a few little gadgets, gizmos, those sorts of things, different ways of using the jaws. And we're going to fly through a set of big gripper jaws. We're going to look at a set of medium O'Donnell jaws and go through all of them. To start with, what I've had to do, always like to prep a couple just to make sure. Okay, there we are. So I've got two pieces of timber. I better give you all the measurements as I go, because it's specific to this project. In terms of the hole diameter, I've got a 45mm hole in the center here. Okay, so that's my first job. And I'm from the bottom of this piece, I am 12mm, half an inch. Overall diameter or overall thickness of this piece of timber is 65mm. I do apologize, I'm giving it in metric. That's all I have here, but that's our dimensions. Obviously the same for this one down here as well. And then the top block, again, do your own size if you want to, but I'm starting off with a piece here. This is 73 in terms of width, and then thickness is 42. But make it suit your own. I expect I cut that to an imperial. But there we are. And then we have one more piece. This is not to size yet, and I've had this soaking in a little bit of oil to make it a bit easier. It's starting off at 30mm, but don't forget, this is a 7/8 thread that we're cutting, and I tend to measure the box. It's got to go through there initially to be cut. So that is a 25mm opening there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to start off with. Okay, let's start, I suppose. Start at the beginning. Good place to start. And we're going to rough this one down. So bottom of the Nutcracker. So there we are. It's around that way. Look, if you can see. Let me put it over there, that way around. And before we start, questions, Ben? Yes.
So we've excuse me, a question from Frederick here. He's asking what was the wood for the threaded part.
So there's two threaded parts. You got the main threaded bit. The male threaded bit is a piece of Amarillo, and then we're going to thread through here. This is a piece of olive. All right. Okay, so lathe speed is 0. Turn the lathe on, turn the lathe up. And I'm going to take this fairly carefully. Got a hole running right the way through in the middle. What I don't want to do is start burring over this. I want to keep it nice and clean. There will be a lot of sanding, of course. I'll have dust extractor running and all those sorts of things. So just a gentle cut down. This is very old olive, so I've had this for a long, long time. I'm probably talking since it was bought in square section, probably had this 20 years. So it's old, it's dry, it's lost a lot of that oil that you normally see with olive. Let's just stop and have a look, see where we are. Don't want to go too far. Ben's got a smile on his face. He must be listening at the chat. Yes, Ben, what questions have we got?
Ruby's asked me to put the measurements in the chat. Could I get them off to you afterwards and we pop them as a comment under the video?
Yeah, we'll do that. No problem at all. No problem at all. But roughly, if I give you, I'll try and remember as I go. So it's 65 by 90, that's 92 there. So 65 wide, 92. The next block is, let's say 70. The widest point on that was actually just over 72, but the narrowest is 70. And then let's say 42 thickness. And as long as you're over an inch when you start with that piece, you'll be okay. And I gave out a wrong reading earlier. I said 7/8. Actually, this box is cut to an inch, which makes sense because I've already said 25 mil for the internal. Yes, Ben.
And a question here from Phil. He's new to turning, and regarding the tools, should he invest in 3 or 4 good tools instead of buying a box set?
Phil, what lathe have you got to start with? Box sets are really good if you've got a benchtop machine because they're a little bit shorter than single tools. Really, 3 tools won't really get you there. You could do with 5 or 6. I'm going to try and remember these: roughing gouge, bowl gouge, spindle gouge, parting tool, and a skew. And if you could stretch to 6, a little round nose scraper would work well. Okay. To be quite honest with you, the beginner's set here, this is Crown make these. Sheffield Steel, very, very good quality. They're a 6-piece set, and I think they're still £100. Is it £100, Ben? I can't remember. They used to be 99 pounds, so 100 quid. But that, you wouldn't go wrong with something like that. It's good and short if you've got a benchtop lathe as well. But that's good quality. You mustn't forget, I mean, at the beginning, you've got a couple of things happening at the beginning. You're learning to use the tools to start with. You're also learning to sharpen. So lots of things happening when you're beginning your turning journey. So bear that in mind as well. I would go with a full set if you can stretch to it. Yeah. Right, let's have a look and see if we're there. So round, round, round. We're there. That's it. That's all we need. So now we can start shaping. So we'll go little round, little 3/8, little 1/4 inch bowl gouge. And I'm going to use the O'Donnell jaws, the middle-size ODs, to hold a foot I'm about to put on here. So I'm going to measure the O'Donnell jaws. And if you don't know what a set of ODs look like, O'Donnell jaws look like, there we are. That's them. All right. So I've just measured those. Let me just make sure. That was lucky. We're right there. I'll just clean that foot up. There we are. Put a little dovetail in. That's good. And then we can carry on with the shape. I'm going to measure that as well. I've already done one which seems to work in terms of design, and there is a hole going down through the middle, so I want to be a bit careful. I don't want to go too far, if you know what I mean. I want to keep it as the first one. As this is only my second one, I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes. There we are, that's enough. Now I can finish the shaping. A little bit more around the bottom here. Just double check, see what the shape is looking like. Everything is working. I can just lightly sand this by hand in a moment when I'm happy, but I think I'm all right with that. And we'll give that a bit of a sand, and then we'll turn it around, drill the hole, and do the first tap of the thread. So lathe, dust extractor on. We all right for questions for the minute, Ben?
We have got a few questions coming, Colwin.
Go for it.
So earlier we were talking about Phil and his buying the chisels. He's got a record benchtop lathe.
Yes.
So the short handles
from a kit
would be fine. Yeah. And then Ward's asking, he says it's off topic, but he's looking for a good lathe light and was just inquiring about the make or the brand Colwin has on the lathe.
Yeah, so this is one of the Axminster ones. This is the LED. This is screwed straight to it, straight to the machine, but you can put them on a magnetic mount if you want. This is my favorite work light, really, because it's completely, I show camera, it's completely adjustable. You can see I can alter the light, which is great for me, for what we do here. And it's a good light as well. It's not a directional light. It fills the space with light rather than being a spotlight, you know, and a lot of them before have been, certainly when we go back to the old halogen lights. But this is a good white light, you know, and it's like I say, it's my favorite. It doesn't get affected by the strobe effect either, which is obviously important for what we do. So yeah, that's my favorite.
And also from Phil, he's asking about Harrogate, if any of us are going to Harrogate. And I don't think, I mean, I'm not.
No, as much as I really, really wanted to. I was going to go up just as a punter, really, and have a look around. But no, unfortunately not. I don't think the company is either, is it?
No, the company is going.
Oh,
yeah, the company is going. I just don't think any of us are demonstrating there, but there will be demonstrations, and Axminster are there.
Excellent. There you go. There we go. Go and say hello to everybody, and say, "Oh, why didn't you bring Ben or Colwin?"
And then Ward's saying he lives in Arizona. Where can he get the light in Arizona? We ship worldwide.
Oh yeah, I'll pop over. I'll bring one over. I'll put one in my suitcase.
Okay.
Yeah, well, like Ben, we can exploit, but apart from that, I don't know. We bring them in. I haven't seen them anywhere else. Is my honest answer. You could try. try all your usuals. Like I say, we'll export them over, no problem, but you could try all your usuals, woodturning, the woodturningstore.com, Woodturners Emporium, all of those sorts of guys. I think it's, I can't remember all the American distributors. There's loads out there. Give them a go. Craft Supplies, people like that. But like I say, if all else fails, we can ship to you.
And then I just wanted to quickly say to Martin that I've had a little look for the thread cutter on the website. I can't find it, but I'll find it and pop it in the comments after the video.
The thread cutter, this one?
Yeah.
This should be on the links.
I should be on the links.
The video.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I put it as the links.
Okay. Cool.
If not, we'll make sure it is. It's quite an important part of the actual demo. So. Starting off with I'm actually starting with a 150, and I'm not worrying if I feather over the edges because I'm going to sand the edges of that big hole anyway. I'm not messing around. I'm not wasting time here. I'm just getting the job done nice and quick. There's a lot of parts to this this project, and I don't want to run over too much today. We are 400. And I'm just going to go to the 600 as well. There we are. So that's the first stage. Let's take that out. We're going to put the chuck on the lathe. And our first chuck is going to be the 114 with a set of O'Donnell jaws. Now, my first job is to drill through what we've just done. Make sure that I've made no blinding mistakes and that's running all out of center. We're good to go. So drill chuck and our drill bit. I know where I got the 7/8 from. So because this is an inch hole, we have to drill a 7/8 hole. So 22 millish right in front of me there. And my first job is to clean up that surface, make it nice and clean and crisp. At the moment, it's just a rough bandsaw cut there. So we'll go in with a little 1/4 inch bowl gouge. Lathe speed down. Want to be down to about 1,000 to 1,200 revs. And we're going to just carefully drill through. Yes, Ben, fire away.
So a question here from Rob. He's asking, is that a robust tool rest on an Axminster lathe? And if so, why?
Because they're my favourite tool rests. Axminster tool rests are good. But what the robust gives me, so there we are. There's the Axminster tool rest. It's quite a big, wide surface, okay, which is great, and it's stable and all those sorts of things. But what I really love is this little bead on the top of the, and it's a hardened bead as well. That's not cast material. So when it comes to my skew chisel and stuff, it slides really nicely. And I've got full movement, all those sorts of things. So absolutely no problem. That'll be my second choice. But I do, as favourites in the world ever, the robust are mine. Yes, Ben.
So we are asking about how many threads per inch. So question from Robert, how many threads per inch? Did we count about 6 or 7?
Six.
And Martin says he's found it, but it's the thread side is not giving a 7/8 option.
No, that's what I said. So it's an inch thread, 7/8 hole I'm having to drill.
Great. Thanks, Colwin.
Me getting me words mixed up. There we are. We're almost through. So nice and gentle. I don't want to break through. I want to go through nice and gently. Just coming through now. There we go. Stop the lathe to show you. No camera's going to see that, are you? But I can guarantee there's a hole through it, look. Okay, we've done that. That's out of the way. So next we're going to start threading. A little bit of oil. I'm just going to bung a little bit of oil just to lubricate the cut inside the hole. Going to make it just a very slight taper. Just found it's easier to pick up if we taper a little bit. Okay. Comes with these little bars. They go through there and you can lock the screw up. The screw sort of locks, but I found it comes undone fairly frequently, so you can nip it up. Don't worry if it does come undone, use it loose. And what you need to do, you must do, is clear the swarf regularly. So every now and again, back it out, clear the swarf. And again, a bit of room, not the lathe. Oil. Just keep that cut lubricated. Oil or wax, whichever you got to hand. Got any questions whilst I'm doing this, Ben? Just shout them out.
Yeah, I was just about to say we've got a few just come in. So from Artful Bodger, he's saying is the olive wood oily? That would help with tapping the hull.
Yeah, olive wood normally is oily, but this is such an old piece. A lot of that natural oil is sort of either evaporated, drained out, or whatever. So it's just, I'm just helping it out with a little bit of oil. But dense timbers by far are the preferred for this. If you go to your softer timbers, things like ash just don't work. You know, sycamores, that sort of stuff, they tend to be quite punky and they burr over quite quick. So go for your denser timbers. Things like lignum, things like olive, boxwood, those sorts of materials will work really well. You might get away with hard maple actually as well. Yeah, guys in the States.
That leads in very nicely into Frederick's question. He's saying, isn't olive wood a little soft for this? Would it be better to reinforce it with a CA?
No, don't. It's so hard. This olive is beautiful. It's one of the more perfect timbers.
And then more from Artful. He's saying, wouldn't a cup in the tailstock ram help to keep the tap straight into the hole? Or, or better yet, the tap in a drill chuck and apply pressure while turning the hand wheel.
The way this works is it leads itself in with a little. Let me show you. At the very front, this is quite. You can see that if I come up close to the camera, you can see the front of that. Oh, let's get my camera right. So it leads in with quite a flat spot before the actual threads. So you'll do well to get it not true. And the thing is, when you're using your hand, you can sort of feel what's happening, whether you need to apply more pressure, if it is pulling up, because it's ever so easy, especially on your first couple of rotations, to actually strip that thread. So you're applying constant pressure and just feeling if it's going in. So no, I haven't found that on my vast experience with them. Number 2.
So we've got Dances with Aardvarks is asking, is it inch 8 TPI?
No, we measured it as a 6. I don't think we can measure it as any engineered lathe center, as it were. I don't think it's made to that. We're now fully through with that one, so I'm going to go to the blind end, clean cut, and just finish off. Can you go to the overhead there, Ben? Just show everybody that we're actually coming all the way through now.
And Nigel was asking how the large hole was done initially.
Just on a pillar drill with a 45mm cutter. There we are. Look, we're all the way through.
Mm-hmm. So Ross is asking, so you have a tapered tap and a bottom tap?
Yep. There we are. We have our first hole. I'm going to oil this project, so I'm not worried about getting oil everywhere. Take out some of the gunk. I'm going to show the camera the threads. If I can get this in shot. All right, so we've got a nice thread running all the way down through now. All right, so my next job, I'm just going to take this foot off and finish that base. Then that's good to go. We can move on to the mel tap then. There we are. I'm going to use, what am I going to use to drive that? Let's use, if I drive from the other end, single pointed tailstock center there, and a little friction drive. 2 seconds, everyone. Let me get my friction drive. Go for it, Ben.
Frederick's asking, does the olive wood still have a nice aroma, being that it's rather old?
It does. It still smells gorgeous. One of my favourite smells in turning is the olive wood. That and the smell of teak, I find them both really amazing. There we are. All I'm going to do is use the parting tool side scrape. There we go. Little part to the underside. Don't go too much. There's a fair amount of pressure on this. Now, I'll sand that up, but the actual little bottom lid we'll take off with, if I get time, we'll take it off with the rotary sander just held in the lathe, like I do with all the pots as well. It's just an easy way of working. But let's just put the dust extractor on and sand that last little bit. Same grits as before. We're starting with a 150. Going down then to 240. $400. 600. There we go, that's the bottom bit sorted. Good stable base. Okay, so when we finish that, we'll get some oil on it, and we can sand that away, like I say, just with a little rotary sander. Okay, so moving on, we're going to move on now to the top bit, so the actual top of the cracker itself. So it's just a little bit of dome timber with a hollow in. The hollow is going to be the same drill bit that we've just used. There we go. Chuck with a fairly big set of jaws in because my blank is not properly cut yet, so as in turn to a round. So all I'm going to do, put that in there, drill chuck back out. Again, we're going to use the same 22mm bit that we used to drill the center hole out with.
Colwin, did you go to Dalling? Might not be saying this right. Dalling who last week?
I did, yeah. We went. I was there on Saturday for the mid-coastal Suffolk turners. We had a great day. Who have we got on there asking?
This is Phil Wilson.
Hello, Phil. Yeah, we had a great time. Lovely sunny day in Suffolk. It was wonderful. Oh, Lacey's a bit too high there. Turn him down a little bit. What a pleasant noise that is. Yes, Ben.
Ross is asking about, he's thinking of buying or upgrading from an Axminster mini lathe. It's the professional model. Why would he spend the extra money for that over the workshop model? What are the benefits of the professional over the workshop?
Benchtop, floor standing, what are we talking about? Do we know?
Well, at the moment, he's got an Axminster mini, which I guess is the collet chuck type one, or so Ross is thinking about upgrading to this this lathe that you're using now from a Axminster mini lathe, or from the workshop model.
From the workshop model. So again, I'm guessing that's a bench top machine to a 406 to this machine. Chalk and cheese. To be quite honest with you, apart from the physical size and what you can get on the lathe, these are made for trade users with the intention of being used every day for a significant amount of hours every single day as well. So everything is backed up for that reason. So you think about the motor, it's going to be a much better quality motor. It's got to withstand that constant use that your tradesperson is going to give it. The same with every other part that's made. The reason they're that much more expensive is because there's more man hours put into the manufacture and the making of them as well. It's like a car. You can go for, a car that costs you a couple of grand that get you from A to B exactly the same way, but not as comfortable, won't last as long, won't do as many miles at a time, all those sorts of things. So those are the differences, really. You're paying for that extra beef, for that extra quality of build, the parts that were involved in it, the bearings are better, all of those sorts of things, because you're expected to use it a lot heavier and for a lot longer than the other machines. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I've done two things that I haven't done two things. One that I should have done. Put the chuck back on again. That's because I was talking. I've got to clean up that surface that we've now just drilled into. So that surface there, we drilled it lovely and all that sort of stuff, but this is still rough and I still haven't got a nice clean outer edge yet. So back to the drawing board. Lay speed up a little bit. Let's start with a little 1/4 inch gouge. Little scrape from skew, just to clean that surface up, give it a nice neat finish. Round over what will be the bottom of that toadstool head, and then sand again. Now you can see why I needed to do that really before we turn over, because it's really difficult to access the back once I've got them held between centers. So that was the reason that I took the time to put it back on again. We'll stick with the same abrasive, no need to go different. Then 600 grit to finish this off. I won't put a finish on any of this yet. We'll wait until we got the whole thing done. Right, so now I can take it out of center. I was taking it out of the chuck, sorry. Got a lovely finish. The timber itself is quite pretty stuff. I say quite pretty stuff. It's very pretty stuff. Nice chocolate brown. So back to our centers. Tailstock center we've still got on there. And then I'm going to use a Pro Drive there, because that Pro Drive sits neatly inside that pre-drilled 22mm hole. Now we can start thinking about finishing the shape. A bit of a wobble on. There we are. Now let's finish. We'll go with back with our 1/4 inch bowl gouge. Have a look and see what our finish is like. I'm not quite sure how that's reacting. Actually, it's looking really good. It's looking after me, this timber. Little bit of a scrape with the skew. There we go. dust extractor on. Sorry, Ben. Yes, got some questions.
Okay, so from Artful's asking, not that he needs it there in the USA, but does Axminster have a repair services for their equipment?
So yes, I mean, you just contact customer services. If there's any issues, contact them, and then you go through the process. We do have workshops. If there's any issues with repairs, then yeah, give them a call and you start that process going.
And from Ross, he's asking, is he going to have problems turning a 20-inch bowl stroke platter on the AW368 where he wouldn't on the AP406?
The 368. You're gonna have to remind me all of these numbers.
So that would be the AW. So that would be the Axminster Workshop, the one of the red ones.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Are you gonna have any problems? No. You. This is bigger. It's going to give you a little bit more power in the motor, so you might have to nurse the cut a little bit more on the workshop one. The motor won't be as powerful torque-wise, so you'll have to take a smaller cut, maybe with a 3/8 gouge rather than a 1/2 inch. The fact that this one's got the capability of putting a sub bed on, so to turn bigger stuff, that will help. I hate using extensions from the tool rest because they vibrate no matter what make of machine it is. So I always prefer to use a sub bed as opposed to an extension arm. So all those sorts of things. I mean, tool rests are going to be better quality. Banjo is going to be better quality. You're going to get less vibration, better torque on the motor. All of those things. Electronics are going to be better. So no, can you do it? Yes. Is it going to be easier on the 406? Yes. So lots of things really.
And also from Rossi's, kind of comparing the 406 to the one way, which his dad's got.
Yeah.
Comparable in power and
no, because the one way is around about £3,000. This one, no, sorry, about £4,000 or £5,000 nowadays. It's a much bigger machine, heavier construction. So it's not like for like. Again, it's now we're comparing. It's like us comparing this one to the workshop one. There's different things. Turning bigger things on a one way than you would be doing on this. Like I want to go up to a what do I want to go? American Beauty. I currently own one of these. American Beauty would, for me, is the next step up again. Heavier duty, more robust, better quality motor, heavier duty motor, all those sorts of things. But, it's about £9,000. I just can't stretch that far.
And Robert's asking, when you're using the skew as a scraper, are you above or below center?
About on center. Yeah, on center. Handle slightly high. Just a quick clean. Clean up. That was a 240, so 400. $600. There we are. That will do us very nicely. What I'm going to do, rather than try and sand the whole of that little nib away, let's just cut a bit of it off first. So just being careful not to hit the main area. Let's just, there we go. That can come away. Then that just leaves me that little nib there to sand away in a moment. Okay, nice little area. So far, we've got a toadstool looking like thing. We now need to do the thread that runs through it. So I've got another bit of timber here. The Amarillo. And I've just done an experiment. I had it soaking in a bit of oil just to see if it would penetrate through. And to be honest, I don't know whether it has. So we'll see. I'm going to cut this down to 1 inch. And then we're going to hold it in our pen jaws. Main speed is 0. Turn the lathe on. Turn the lathe up. We'll use the roughing gouge first. Get it sort of close. Right. It hasn't penetrated at all. Beading and parting tool. And calipers. And what we'll do now, if I use, I've got an inch drill bit here somewhere. There we are. Or 25mm, near enough for my purposes. I'm just going to set my callus by using that as a guidelet. That's a 25mm bit. It's a little bit smaller than what I need, which is really about perfect, actually. So lathe speed up now. Just taking that waste away. We'll give it a little clean-up cut with the skew chisel. Lathe speed up a wee bit. There we are. Let me just test that. I want to make sure it's actually going to fit in the box. When I say that that oil hasn't penetrated, it has a little bit, you know. It's gone through a little bit. So box. Yeah, that's going to fit through there nicely. That's spot on. Good. Happy with that.
Frederick's asking for some native alternatives for any of these components.
Holly? That'd be a great one. Holly's a really nice timber. I would give it a similar texture really to the olive, and it's nice and dense as well. Probably a good hard maple. Things like blackthorn would be a really nice one also. And my pendulums. Yeah, that sort of density worked really nicely. Now that's going to slot in there. And I'm going to go in as far as I can on this one. The actual measurement of the thread I've got on this one, because what we need to do is certainly go down far enough that it goes down deep enough to actually hit the nut if you trying to crack the small ones. So right down to the bottom of the hole nearly. And so that measurement of thread, I need to create at least, there we are, 70mm. I also need a little dowel that's going to go into the lid or as well. So I'm going to do a little tenon there, and we're going to use epoxy resin glue then. So now I can use the box. Now you might find that you need to adjust gently. So when I say adjust, maybe not have the whole of the cutter exposed initially. Let's lock up the lathe. So, you know, wind it back a little bit. If it's a bit stubborn, if it's not enjoying itself, then exactly that. So it looks like it's cutting. Actually, that's cutting beautifully at the moment. little bit of forward pressure. Now it's found its thread. I can start cutting with both hands. The same sort of thing. If you're finding it binding a little bit, then open up, bring it back. Let's have a look and see what we've got so far. So it's cutting really nicely. I might have to push the cutter out a little bit more just to get a bit of a deeper cut, but it looks like it's working.
So just a couple of questions coming, Colwin.
Yeah, far away.
Michael's asking, well, he owns the respirator, the powered respirator, and asking for any tips on cleaning it.
Powered respirator, the APF.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's an Oxford company that produced those. In terms of cleaning them, what I would do is take off your side filters every now and again. Don't forget they've got pre-filters on them, so I would make sure that you clean those or change the pre-filters fairly often. And I tend to blow out the main filter or use the vacuum just to clean it out every now and again. But apart from that, try and take it off before you sneeze. That's always a good thing. Clean the or again, replace every now and again the your little peel off on the front of the actual screen itself. Just clean that every now and again. Let's give a little bit of oil to this. We may increase the cut as well. Just a little bit of lubricant on there.
And Phil's asking, do we sell blank tool posts to attach a plywood top to and make a tabletop?
We do. So this sort of thing here for sanding on. Get a number 2 there, then. There we are. So tool post, look at the tool post system or tool rest system. This is a little carving plate that attaches to those. And then that gets screwed onto your worktop. You can then set the center height with these little collars also. That'll be listed underneath the tool post system. All right. Go straight to Axminster website, you'll see those. Just going to go probably for about another inch. We'll give the thread a test then.
James is asking, could you use the pin jaws for holding pen blanks for drilling?
Yes. In fact, we used to do that quite a lot until we had the old pen jaws turn up.
Yeah.
No problem at all. So my next job here, I'm just going to make sure that it fits and rotates nicely and not too tight. If it's a bit tight, then I'll just advance the cutter inside the cutter box a little bit to take a bit more material away. Yeah, a little bit tight, so we're going to take a little bit more off of that. First part of the thread's fine, but once you start getting right in, it's a little bit tight. So to do that, all we got to do, look, undo these screws. Don't drop them in the shavings. Got a question there, Ben?
Well, Phil was asking about the collar. Is that something Axminster do as well?
Yep, it's all under the tool post system.
Yep.
So there's the main adjuster. You can see the cutter in here. That adjuster loosens that off, so I can just advance it a little bit. So slacken it off, and I'll use a little bradawl just to push that out a bit. Tighten your bolt back down again. Reassemble. Don't get impatient when you're doing this and turn the lathe on to try and do it. You will mess it up immediately. This is a hand operated process. There we are. We'll double check again, make sure. Still a little bit more to come away. What I'll also do is just before we get too carried away and taking any more, I just turn the lathe on, sand the top of that thread away a little bit. There we are. Try again. Let's put a little dab of that there just to see. Wipe it off. If I can get away with having to adjust that one more time, then I can. Just as we get deeper in, it's just starting to pinch a wee bit. So I think one more adjustment. Pop the screws back in, and that should be enough.
Martin's asking about other projects might be used for with the thread cutter, and I know we've Jason's done something with it. I couldn't remember what the project was though.
I done one way back where we're talking when we started doing these videos, making some hand tools, and it was a marking gauge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They used the thumb screw of the marking gauge. That worked quite successfully as well. Much smaller one. I think it was a little 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
But that worked very well.
Scott's asking, he said, sorry for joining late. Perhaps it was covered. What's to keep you from making a kissing scrape with the skew instead of adjusting the die cutter?
Say that again.
So maybe just doing a little scrape with the skew instead of using the cutter.
Well, just to take the diameter down. This is taking the whole thread down, not just the peaks.
Yeah.
And so we've got to think about, we've cut 2 threads. So it may not just be the top. I did sand a little bit to take some of that top away, but it's probably also the whole of the thread. You think about, we've got peaks on the inside here. That's it. We are now good. There we are, all the way down. That's what we want. At the moment, it's bottoming out. So I'm going to bring them back about there. Make a little mark with my pencil.
And our friend the Sleeping Dog's come on, Colwin, asking, have you had any experience with the Simon Hope Easy Set threading jig?
I haven't, no. I haven't, but I have heard good things about it. But yes, never used it myself. If I'm honest with you, I just don't do enough threading. to warrant it. But no, I've heard good things. Just trying to find my little drill bit. There it is. And I'm going to set my calipers one more time. And this now, I'm going to create the tenon. Now, don't worry, if you don't quite get this right, you could hold, again, in your pen jaws, the thread. It won't damage them as long as you're not too forceful, just to adjust. But now my tenon, where my pencil mark was, okay. One last thing, little bit of a taper on the very start of that thread. Bit of a sand. Now we'll part off. The lathe speed up a little bit. Now I'm just going to ping that little nib away there. Look, this little nib that's on the end. Just watch your fingers. Just ping that off. Now, if this doesn't fit, just going to open it a little bit. That actually fits pretty darn good with a little bit of epoxy resin glue on that. That will be a solid join then. That's going to slot in there nicely. Crack me walnuts all day with that one. All right. The one thing is that I haven't done yet, we never got quite time to do it. I just need to take the bottom off here, this little nib, and I need to do the same at the top, just clean that off. Done in exactly the same ways. We put our little power sanding pad in the chuck and sand it away going down through the grades. But there, let me grab the other one just so we can compare the two. Not bad for the second one. Did take half as much time as the first one, I will say that. There we are. That timber, even though that looks a completely different color, come from the same piece. And look how that's changed just over the course of about 5 days, everybody. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed that. I did. That was fun. Quite a big ask. We're a little bit over, but let's not worry too much about it. What questions do we have, Ben?
So Phil's asking about the good old Axminster catalogue. Is there a paper version or is it all online only now?
It is all online only. I've been answering that question all weekend. No, it is online only now. For good, for bad, it is only online.
Always a popular thing, wasn't it? We get so many questions about the calendar, the catalogue.
And the calendar. That's the calendar.
Artful Bodger's asking, would a mineral oil or a beeswax finish be good for the threads?
Probably beeswax, if I'm honest. Oil is as much as oil's great for the cutting and for a little bit of lubricant. Then what it'll do long term is slightly swell the timber. So wax will be better for that. It will make it more of a lubricant rather than swell it. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed that. Again, don't forget, remember what I say every single time. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, hit the notifications, though, so it reminds you exactly when we're going to be going live and when there's a video to drop. Okay. So it's usually every Tuesday, 3 o'clock. Well, it's not usually. It's every Tuesday at 3 o'clock and every Thursday at 3 o'clock. So thank you very much from myself and Ben. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.